Here's my russet potatoes. They all seem to be doing well. We'll see. I am getting some little bugs on them right now. Little red bugs, but so far doesn't look to be too much damage. When I find them, I pick them off and throw them in a bucket of water. There's several of them down in there. Then I'll take these off and hand them to give them to the ducks or the geese or something. Something will eat them, maybe. My asparagus is ferned out and growing like crazy. There are a few different cosmos in here, I think. Starting to bloom. Oh, look. And some of my seeds are ripening for the asparagus. I could not for the life of me think of what I could have planted here, but this must have reseeded itself from last year, and if I'm right, it is like a giant red amaranth, I think. And then here is some just wildflowers and nasturtiums, and I think I do have tucked in here. Oh, and there is something really prickly. Pretty certain this may be a cucumber. My chives have all went to seed here. So I will cut these back, and I don't know if they come back again or not, honestly. But I'm hoping they will. They have such pretty flowers. I have these things, which I think they're called tomatillas. I may be pronouncing that wrong. Purple ones, if that makes a difference. But these suckers are popping up all over the garden. I planted some 2 years ago, and I keep getting them ever since. Even in our cold Wisconsin zone 4, I think I'm 4A or 4B. Really up north. Here's another one tucked in beside my potatoes and next to borage. This too self-seeded itself from last year. This is a really crowded bed with a little bit of everything. Let's see, I've got some cilantro that I'm letting flower and go to seed. Some parsley tucked in there. Some zinnias, marigolds. That's doing well. I have some basil tucked back in there with a couple tomato plants. The tomato plants is the one thing that I did buy. I don't know why, because I have volunteers that are doing just as well as all of my store-bought tomato plants. Are much better than the ones that I grew by seed. Over here I have some dill and cucumbers that are starting to vine up. And tucked in at the end I have some kale, some zinnias. That looks like a cabbage or a broccoli. I think a cabbage. And this I haven't decided if that's a Swiss chard or a kale. But it's a green, so we'll eat it. Right here is one of my zinnias that's going to be popping open soon. That's exciting to see. These right here are a little cut flower. I don't know. And a little plantain trying to survive up in there. Then I also kept some more wild weeds, edible weeds. I have some oxalis and some purslane tucked in here. It's a really busy bed, but so far it is producing. I'll let these green beans go for a crop or two, and then I'll tear them out and let something else grow in here as fall approaches. Nothing's growing up over my arches yet, but they're starting to, the viney plants. And here I have just a little patch of wildflower mix. And once again, this mystery green. That one I know is a red Russian kale. The squash that is in here is delicata squash, and I have 3 plants. This back one is by far doing the best. The rest are kind of being choked out by the peas and the tomatoes up front. And I also have some carrots and a few radishes growing down below here. Look at that little pepper. Now this too is something that I bought. Tomatoes and pepper and lavender I bought a few plants of because mine just didn't take off. Here's another little one that I bought. This one's a Lunchbox Red. I've never had this one before. And I'm sure this little thing is a weed, but I figured it's pretty. I'm going to let it grow. Then I have some more marigolds here. And when I weed like this, I just take handfuls and they're just little treats for the goats. And I don't worry about getting them all because this way they have snacks every day. I have some more nasturtiums growing up. I think this is one of the, this and borage were one of the first 2 flowers that I planted in my garden. This is a sunflower and another little sunflower. And then on this side of the fence, I have some bee balm. Oh, I was just saying today I hardly see any bees right now, but they're finally starting to come out. Oh, you precious little thing. Here's another one. Go tell your friends there's lots of flowers here. And here's this starting to vine up. The goats have taken it out just about every year. I do have the goats put away now, so hopefully it'll actually vine up and get pretty this year. I have at least kept it alive. This is its 3rd year of life. So these squash, I'm not certain what they are. They may be yellow squash. I get mixed up with my seeds. I start off getting them all nice and organized, and by the time they actually get in the ground, sometimes we just don't know what they are until they produce something. But these were definitely late getting into the ground, so they're very small. So here are various different squashes. I think I have, oh shoot, red curry squash. There was a Turk's turban. And then I have some buttercup squash in here. I think the buttercup squash is more toward the end. And then I also have some okra that I thought would grow a little quicker than it's growing, but it's not. So I may end up having to transplant it because it's not doing well here. But the squash is doing amazing. And I've got little baby squashes on there, on some of them. I also have some pole beans growing up here and there, everywhere, who knows, wherever. This one's gonna vine all the way this way. You gotta grow up the fence. I will never find you growing in and amongst the squash trees. Here's one of the little squashes. They're so cute. hopefully there'll be enough room for everything that's in here. I do have it to where it can trellis up the fence. Some may trellis out the back of the fence. Here's my corn. It too is finally starting to grow. And in and amongst here I have sunflowers. Down below I have different melons. I think this may be a cantaloupe. And then somewhere in here and amongst this are 2 watermelons. I don't see them in there because I also have a whole lot of weeds. Well, here's one of the watermelons. It is doing well. I've never had much luck growing watermelons in Wisconsin. Here what I have are beets, green beans, again some weeds, and who knows what else I planted in here. I generally try to plant 3 different things within a garden bed and do like the 3 sisters. Well, I sacrificed a couple beets here, but I think we'll be okay. It seems to be pretty thick in here. Oh, look. There's some looking pretty nice in there. The goats will love these as an after dinner snack here as I pick away. Just see what else is growing in here. I don't even worry about getting all the way down to the roots. For one, I don't necessarily want to disturb everything in there. These taller ones generally will come out with their roots. But the dandelions, I don't mind if they reseed and come back. It's just food. Food for us, if we need it. And food for the critters, definitely. Let's check. Well, I'm starting to get some things going on in these rows. A few little flowers trying to come on. That's encouraging to see. A month ago, my garden looked pretty sad. Now I'm on to the broccoli bed. This too has beets in it. So one has a traditional red beet and the other one has like a rainbow beet in it. I also have some mustard greens, and I don't really know how to eat them. I grew up hating greens and I'm trying to learn to like them. My broccoli, still nothing. Now, I'm just going to check. Oh, yeah, they are. They're popping in there. I haven't done any thinning of these. So yeah, these ones are... Looks like a whole bunch there. I may need to thin that. You can eat this. The goats can too, so I'm just going to give it to the goats tonight. No broccoli heads in any of them. Huh. Looks like a bird's been off eating raspberries. And of course I like to put little flowers throughout here. I got a dill. My lavender is kind of coming back. I trimmed it quite a bit not too long ago. Oh, that smells good though. And then I have lots of sunflowers. And tucked underneath the sunflowers I have cabbage, some thyme, which smells amazing. So far not a whole lot of anything, except for some chewed up leaves. No heads are really starting to form yet. It is really hot and gonna be really hot, but hopefully some of these sunflowers will help shade out and I'll get something. So this stuff I utilize as a food and for us, and also as just weed control. It comes up and takes over a whole patch. Oh, look at this that I just uncovered. If I'm not mistaken, these are baby mulleins. There's 3 of them here. Possibly 4. It's pretty tall. Has lots of flowers. It also has more shoots coming on that I'll be able to collect more flowers off of. Oops. So this too will turn into a big cane, or the same thing as this, whatever you would call that. So I've got several more popping up on the sides. Here's one that's gonna flower. These won't get as big, but they'll still produce flowers and seeds. You like those? On this side are some more delicata squash, and then my baby red potatoes. While we were in the barn working, I cleaned up a bunch of wood chips, so I brought those out here. From where the wood chips were from baby chicks, as well as where the mama goats had their babies. So it should have some pretty nutritious things in there. I've never grown potatoes by just hilling them up with anything and everything, so we'll see how it goes. It's kind of an experiment for me. Well, actually everything in my garden is an experiment. Anything I grow this year might not be the way I grow it next year. I like to change things up and just see what happens. I think that's a Cosmo. I don't know. I'm not very well versed in my flowers. Tucked in behind these potatoes are these little blue flowers. They're very pretty with like a silvery leaf. I don't know what they're called. Oh, and look, here's one of those bugs I was talking about. I don't know what those are either, but they're eating my potato leaves. And then I just take them over here and hopefully they drown in there.